Hello and welcome to the WrestleTalk News. I'm Quinnell. It's common knowledge at this point that in WWE, any bit of good booking came from Triple H and any bit of bad booking came from Vince McMahon with absolutely no exceptions. It's just a fact of life. But what's this? News that might prove to the contrary? How dare thee? Yes, there may be some creative decisions that maybe Triple H makes that maybe might not be great. As Santos Escobar has revealed that back when he first debuted in NXT, he wanted to bring back the LWO faction right from the get-go, but Triple H said no before he even got out the letter O. This came from Escobar on Ryan Satin's Out of Character show, where he went on to say that he was really mad about it, and Triple H made a horrible mistake when, it's a mistake in my notes. What he actually said was Triple H was right. The time wasn't right. It wouldn't have been what it is right now. Also, it needed a very important ingredient, an OG, an original LWO member, and that's Rey Mysterio. So, Triple H is still a booking genius, and we can blame Vince McMahon for everything bad in WWE without any trace of nuance. Nice. But what's this? News that might prove the contrary? How dare thee? Because it turns out that Vince McMahon might have actually booked something that we actually liked once or twice. I know, it's crazy to say. Because according to Paul Heyman in a recent appearance on Rick Rubin's Tetragrammaton podcast, nailed it, Vince McMahon was the guy who thought of pairing Heyman with Roman Reigns. Interestingly, Heyman noted that Reigns took his time away from WWE in early 2020 partly because of the pandemic and being uncertain how severe it was going to be, but also because he was fed up of his creative as the big dog. The feud rivalry story with Baron Corbin over dog food and the infamous Suffer in Succotash promo had weighed on him enough to where he said, "I've had enough, I've reached the cap, I can't go any further. As the big dog, I've peaked, and as an athlete, I haven't peaked as a performer. I've barely scratched the surface. I have so much more to offer, and since I'm taking time off, I'm not coming back as the same person." Heyman then revealed that there were a few options for him to be paired with various wrestlers, including the obvious Brock Lesnar, though his appearances in 2020 didn't make sense for WWE while not having Saudi and not having live events, but also Ronda Rousey, who was attempting to have a child at the time, which ruled out that pairing, and Roman Reigns. Heyman then said he received a call from Vince in the middle of August, which would have been right around the time Reigns was coming back anyway, and revealed that he wanted Heyman to join Reigns. So Vince can book good things sometimes. But everything bad in WWE is still his fault, obviously. Meanwhile, in AEW, it's Forbidden Door season, so everything is a bit more exciting than usual, but it could have been even more exciting with a potential appearance that now, unfortunately, can't happen. According to Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated, there were significant discussions between Tony Khan and Mercedes Moné about appearing at Forbidden Door prior to her injury at New Japan Strong's Resurgence event. So there's every chance that we could have had a Moné match at Forbidden Door, which would have been pretty rad to say the least, I think. But even without Moné, TK is still confident, as he's called this year's Forbidden Door the best event either company has ever participated in an interview with Justin Barrasso, which is bold, to say the least, considering there's a run in both companies' histories where they were considered to be putting on the greatest wrestling in the world. Good luck, TK. And now, over to Ollie.
It's Thursday. You know what that means. My review of AEW Dynamite in 3 words or fewer. That's the wrong show. I mean in about 5 minutes. The show opened, as it has done almost every week this year, with Orange Cassidy defending his international title. Only this time was different. There was an actual credible chance he might lose it, facing his biggest threat yet in Swerve Strickland. It was almost as much a match to see who's coolest as much as who's best in the ring. Swerve's offense is just as effortless as Cassidy's, like spilling an electric chair spot over the top rope outside to be in the exact same electric chair spot. It was Cassidy who seemed to be losing his cool, selling not just the pain from months upon months of accumulated damage, but also the cracks of a gimmick that projects he doesn't care. And I'm starting to think deep down beneath the Clint Eastwood stoically stoned persona, he wants to see how long he can keep this championship. Which means even after all this time and all these defenses, me and the audience are still rooting for him, despite Swerve being a very worthy new champion. Swerve accidentally took out Prince Nana in the only interference spot. They kicked out of each other's finishers, but Orange just got another technical pin in the end to win a great match, prompting Sting and Darby Allin to save him from an Embassy beatdown afterwards. It'll be the Embassy versus Cassidy, Allin, Sting, and Keith Lee next week. Because I'm pretty sure Swerve and Keith Lee never actually getting an actual singles match is a backstage joke on me now. Following one of the many great video packages hyping Forbidden Door, Bryan Danielson came out on commentary for the Blackpool Combat Club versus wrestling's weirdest faction, Chaos, where Danielson rightfully pointed out that Okada, his Forbidden Door opponent and Chaos leader, is not a serious person. Trent's mum is in Chaos. Nobody's mum is in the Blackpool Combat Club. Chaos were represented by Rocky Romero, Trent and Chucky, who put in a great performance against Mox, Claudio and Yuta. The BCC got the win after Claudio uppercutted a Trent top rope moonsault to the outside in mid-air. The Hung Bucks then challenged the BCC for next week's show in Washington, D.C., which is where Dynamite had its first ever episode, and Danielson promised it'll be Hangman and the Bucks' last. Due to contractual obligations, MJF then had to appear in Colorado, which he called the most boring place in the world. Oh, MJF, you've not come over to the UK for AEW just yet? Try Milton Keynes. And he's quite the authority on boring because he's bored by AEW's competition for him, perfectly teeing up Adam Cole Bay's musical interruption. What followed was MJF in his craftsman-like promo prime, making a long speech building Cole up as a wrestler and his career, better than anything AEW has done since his debut in September 2021. Max talked about being instantly captivated by Cole, seeing him on the otherwise rubbish indie show Ring of Honor, watching him go to Florida to shock the system, become Shawn Michaels' hand-picked guy, and the best world champion in that promotion's history. Max said he studied Cole, which is a shoot, brother, much love, HH Kiss, as an Instagram post he made on the 9th of June 2016, so eerily almost exactly 7 years to the day, saying, watch the best to be the best, with a vision board of Tully Blanchard, Chris Candido, Chris Jericho, and Adam Cole. Maybe I should get into vision boards too, and then I can manifest my own reality. Manifest! But after all that talking up, Max then tore Cole down, asking with all that past, who's the guy that's turned up in AEW? He's out of shape, he's fragile, the company's trying too hard to get him over, and he's gone from Panama Playboy to Panama Game Boy, streaming games on Twitch. And if you think MJF couldn't get any more levels of heat after saying Great-O-Khan was the only good wrestler in New Japan, hold my Burberry scarf! Because he then said he thinks Vince McMahon is right, big fan. Cole didn't have what it takes to be a top star. Cole had some good retorts, pointing out Max's fiancée left him, accusing him of being on steroids, and getting a no-respect chant going, smartly tricking MJF into giving him a World Championship Eliminator match next week. But I felt Max's punches landed way more heavily because, unfortunately, through circumstance and booking, Cole has not felt anywhere near the level he was prior to joining AEW. Excellent entrance music aside. Hopefully this is the feud that can finally reignite him. The Hardy Party said they're going to make Ethan Page a better man. Hook and Jungle Boy had a great bloody tornado tag from out of nowhere against Preston Vance and Dralistico after their segment last week. Vance and Hook in particular looked amazing, with Preston gushing blood and Hook hitting an exploder suplex on him off the apron through a table. Jungle Boy got the win, showing a bit more of a violent side. Zooming out more though for a macro take, AEW just spent near 3 months building up the 3 other pillars for a pay-per-view World Championship main event. And it now feels like all those guys have just gone right back to where they were before. Darby is playing third fiddle to Sting and Orange Cassidy, Jungle Boy's in a Franken team, and Sammy Guevara is nowhere to be seen. It's a very poor follow-up. AEW should have had more elevated plans for them immediately after. Tony Khan made his latest game-changing, limousine riding, leveling up, Shazam, Fury of the Gods announcement for not next week in Winnipeg, but 2 weeks' time in Chicago. The main event of the debut episode of Collision, Samoa Joe, Jay White and Juice Robinson versus FTR and CM Punk. I know the show's in Chicago. I know he's now been literally announced for the main event. Can't be sure of anything when it comes to Punk and AEW, which is why it's not truly official until WrestleTalk CM Punk return correspondent Brian Children has broken it himself. Brian, has CM Punk returned yet?
Yes. Yes, he has. Yes, he... No, wait, sorry. There were too many tears on my screen. Made it look like he had. No. No, he hasn't.
We don't have time for tears, Brian. Back to work! Takeshita came out to squash an enhancement talent called Damon Ace, while footage played over and over on the Tron of Don Callis betraying Kenny Omega. Don got loads of heat again for his post-match promo, once again promising him and his family will cut Kenny and the Elite out of All Elite Wrestling like a cancer, which will just make it All Wrestling. Or... Christian Cage and Luchasaurus beat up Arn Anderson's son, Brock, backstage, building the real match everyone wants to see, Arn versus Luchasaurus. I guess Wardlow and his TNT Championship are also involved somewhere. Chris Statlander overcame Daddy Magic interference to beat Anna Jay. Ty Valkyrie was shown watching angrily backstage, keeping their TBS title feud bubbling. Tony Storm and Ruby Soho cut a promo on the women's #1 contender 4-way on Rampage, where Britt Baker feels like such an obvious winner she'll surely lose via interference. And the main event was Ricky Starks versus Jay White 2. This wasn't super heated or the super amazing usual TV main event you get from AEW, but it was an incredibly solid pro wrestling encounter. I love the way Jay structures his matches, cutting off babyface comebacks, so I really enjoyed it. The ref got accidentally taken out from the Rochambeau, letting Austin and Colton Gunn make the shock interference, hit a 310 to Yuma on Starks, for Jay to follow up with a Blade Runner to win. Of course. How did we not see this coming? The Guns are joining Bullet Club Gold. I experienced the angle in the moment as a bit lame. AEW are trying to get the Guns over above their station again, like in the Firm or doing a transitional tag title run. But the more I think about it, the more I like the idea of this new act. Mostly because the promos are going to be insane. This week's Dynamite is 75%. Now go watch me play wrestling board games in the new episode of our No Holds Board series. Board Games.
No Holds Board, our brand new weekly series on PFK where we play board games, but not wrestling board games. They're bad. We're instead taking good board games and making them all about wrestling. Thanks to prompts written